Dr. Rigzen Gurmet, Dr. Tsewang Gyatso Bhutia, Sikyong Kenap Gyatso la, Dr. Lobsang Gyatso Lobsang Dorjee Rabling la. Kuch tingja phero na. 나는 그 좀 상고. No. Gela sumbadere. No. Okay. Give me that. Let's say go to Georgie. And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the third session of the Tibet-Himalayan Relation Conference. My name is Dechen Palmo, and I'm a research fellow at the Tibet Policy Institute. And today I'll be moderating this session. So today we have 4 distinguished speakers with us today, and each representing unique perspective on religion, history, and Tibetan culture tradition in the Himalayan regions. So each speaker will have 20 minutes, followed by a short Q&A at the end. And I kindly request all the speakers to keep within the time so that we can have a space for the discussion. And let me introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Dr. Rigzen Gurmet, Assistant Professor in the Department of Religion and Religious Studies at the Central University of Kashmir. So today he'll speak on religious pluralism in Ladakh, assessing the Dalai Lama's influence on communal harmony in Leh. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Gurmet. Please, stage is yours.
Gangla semgi tamba rinjindi keba di kula chadalo Gangla neba chekyang dewe chungne de la kyapsuchi. So this stanza is from the Buddhista Charya Avatara by Shantideva, the first chapter and second last stanza. Thank you very much, Dechen. And firstly, I would like to thank the organizer, especially Tsewang and his team. I can understand like it's not easy to organize such kind of conference. Even I used to organize when I was in Delhi for a few years. So I am really thankful to all the organizers and all the team, which is part of this conference. And secondly, I would like to thank my university for giving me the permission to attend this August gathering. And today, I would be speaking on religious pluralism in Ladakh, accessing the Dalai Lama's influence on communal harmony in Leh. So here, like, I will be discussing I'll be discussing mainly in 3 points. The first is rise of religious syncretism in Ladakh, a historical and cultural analysis. And the second one, the rise of communal politics in Ladakh, religion, identity, and conflict. The third one is towards communal harmony, the Dalai Lama's vision and contribution. I'll try my best to finish on time. So here, when it comes to Ladakh, Ladakh share very important relation with Tibet. Historically, we share many things. Similarly, culturally, we share, and as well as spiritual connection we have with Tibet. And the most important today I would like to emphasize is we share the very important intangible heritage, the heritage of loving kindness and compassion. So even I got an opportunity to present a paper in Delhi, one of the very important conference. That time also, I emphasize, and while sharing the importance of preservation of Himalayan culture, at that moment of time, also emphasize on the preservation of the intangible culture, that is the compassion of the compassion and loving kindness. And today, and particularly this year, we are celebrating the year of compassion, celebrating His Holiness the Dalai Lama 90th birthday. So here, it's I find very important to preserve this the great heritage, the heritage of loving kindness and compassion. And also, why I'm saying the very foundation of the Himalayan culture throughout the Himalaya, including Tibet, the very foundation of our culture is loving kindness and compassion. So here, when it comes to Ladakh, we share, we have this. Mainly, we have Muslim community and Buddhist community, and also we do have Christian community, and as per the 2011 census, we also have some Hindus, that has increased to 6% in Ladakh. So and here, traditionally, the society characterized by the strong interreligious bond, particularly between Buddhist and Muslim, who coexisted harmoniously and participated in each other's social and cultural life. However, the mid to late 20th century saw tensions emerge, particularly in central Ladakh, often fueled by political development rather than religious doctrine. In recent years, Leh has witnessed a revival of interreligious harmony, with the leader from the diverse faith communities actively participating in another's festival, public event, and the social initiatives. The renewed spirit of cooperation owes much to moral and spiritual leadership of His Holiness Dalai Lama, whose teaching on compassion and non-violence and the universal responsibility have played important role in bridging divides and fostering communal respect. Now, so this paper, I try to, the methodology that I have adopted to write this paper was mainly focusing on interviews. But unfortunately, when I went to take some of the interview, our people from our community takes quite lightly, it's when it comes to such kind of the topic that to deal with such kind of topics. So it was quite difficult and challenging. But however, since there are many scholars, Ladakhi scholars, particularly young scholars, they have attempted to research on this the culture of the special religious the the relation between the different religion in Ladakh, and also some of the anthropologists from the Europe, and also they have attempted to research on this area, and also like one of the prominent scholars who passed away last year, the Abdul Ghani Sheikh, and also Aung Sring Shakpola here, also has worked on this, the very unique relation that we share among the Muslim and Buddhist community. So here, I try to try to be very particular. Like when it comes to the rise of syncretism in Ladakh, the historical and cultural analysis. It is it's very interesting. Like especially there's a village called Kuksho and Chiktan. So like many of anthropologists, they have studied quite thoroughly. So here, before that, like we have to understand like how this the development of Buddhism in Ladakh, as well as the development of the Muslims in Ladakh. So like many of Ladakhi scholars already share the historical part, but like if I share a bit, I don't want to go in detail, but like the most important, the point that we have to understand when it comes to the development of Buddhism in Ladakh is the Kharosti inscription and Gupta Brahmi script that found in Khalse. That is dated broadly to the 4th century and 5th century, between 4th century and 5th century, now lost due to bridge work. The BRO, because of the building roads in those area, and also this considered one of the most key evidence of early contacts with Buddhism. And also this many scholars like Bell's volume in Ladakhi rock arts, noting that A.H. Frankie saw both an early Brahmi and Gupta period inscription at the site, but recent summaries confirm it lost because of the road works that took place in that area. So this is like considered one of the most authentic source or the introduction of Buddhism in early history of Ladakh. So second one, we have to go 10th and 11th century, and one of my favorite figure, great personalities, the Jiangchu Yue and Yishe Yue. They have played very important role to bring Buddhism in Ladakh during the 10th century and 11th century. And then we don't we have to as all of you know that the importance the important role that the Lotsa or Rinchen Sangpo has played, and bringing Buddhism in Ladakh by constructing monasteries and learning institutions. So this is it's a rough idea how Buddhism came to Ladakh. And also this has become very important part of Ladakhi culture, the monasteries, the stupas, the artistic tradition that continue to shape its religious and cultural identity today. So when it comes to Islam, and we have to remember, I don't want to go in detail, but we have to remember one person, the great. Yesterday, the Kungola was also sharing in quite detail the Mirza Haider. The Mirza Haider, the Tariq-e Rashid. One of my students, the MA student, she's doing her dissertation on Mirza Haider, the Tariq-e Rashid. So there, it's quite clear, his journey towards the Tibet. While going to Tibet, and in between, when Ladakh, there are different perspectives among scholars, but this is considered one of the most authentic. And also, even when it comes to Rinchen Cha and all, we don't find the proper source. And like here, like Tariq Rashid is considered one of the most authentic. So here it is like dated, we understand like through his travelogue that like Buddhism, the Islam developed in around 14th century. So here, like, he destroyed many monasteries, including, and also like he forcefully converted people, like, when like there's a place called Nubra in Ladakh. So these are the quite evident that like even like there's this certain statement from the other community saying that like there was no such forced conversion that took place in Ladakh. So, and this is very important. Then again, like, we have to go like, 16th and 17th century, how these Shia Muslims came to Ladakh. So mainly, like, this is because of the King Jamyang Namgyal married to the Balti queen, and that's the main main event that the Shia Muslim that came to Ladakh, especially, and also at that moment of time, even like they started building mosques even in my village, Pasgo. So like there is in the palace, there's a small now it is, we have there's a no more small mosques there, but like it is somehow it is it's a mosque shape, like people say like it was a the prayer hall for the Gyal Khatun. So and also there are like even my parents, they say like there are many lands that owned by the Baltis, like, and all the Shia Muslims. So through this we understand like how the Buddhism and later the Islam and particularly Sunni and Shia came to Ladakh. And also like this this has become permanent and significant part of Ladakhi multi-religious society. So then when we talk about the religious syncretism in Ladakh, so it's very interesting, or like you must, and also like it sounds very strange, like when both the Buddhist and the Shia Muslim staying together under the one roof, and without converting their and also sharing all the rituals and also the and the culture, and also like I don't want to go in detail, but like it says like even this shukpa, there's a tree, right? They even like Muslim, they used to worship the shukpa, like in this particularly there's a place called Kuksho, like which the Ngaon Shakpula has written about this in quite detail. And there we understand, like if I read like in my paper, it's written that religious syncretism shaped Ladakhi society in visible way. From architecture to ceremonies, communities frequently cross religious lines. Muslims sought help from Buddhist shaman for healing, while Buddhists joined the Muslim mourning rituals such as those for Imam Hussein. Likewise, Muslims participated in Buddhist celebration like Losar. Social occasions such as village wedding were also communal, where both the groups share in eating, singing, and dancing together, reinforced in spirit of harmony. So there we understand. I have 5 more minutes. Okay. Sorry, basically, if I, it's very interesting. So in one family, you find like both the Muslims and Buddhists staying together, eating in one pot. Now, like if you go to Ladakh, like it is almost impossible, like because like Muslim, they avoid to eat in Buddhist family. So it is like somehow there's this influence from the Iran even like this small books that is distributed among the Shia Muslim that particularly written that you are not supposed to eat from the people from other religion. So these are the changes that took place among the Buddhist community and Shia community. And also then again I will quickly, since I don't have time, so and since so this is like rise of communal politics in Ladakh, religion, identity, and conflict. So this Ladakh become somehow princely state, Jammu and Kashmir, in 1846, marks a loss of historical autonomy, introduced what John Barry, one of the scholars, he has worked thoroughly in Ladakhi studies. So he termed that double colonialism. So here, and also the Tsewang Rigzen Kalon, he in fact put a petition in the eve of the independence that Ladakh should be given the different nation on the basis of the religion, different religion that doesn't share with the Kashmir, the Muslim majority. And also there's a country among the, and also many Muslim writers, they say there's 1989 which the huge riots took place in Ladakh. In the while demanding the Union Territory separate from the Jammu Kashmir state. So that moment of time, the huge riot took place, and also because of that, and also these writers, many writers, they believed that was a turning point, the relation between the Muslims and Muslim and Buddhist. But what I say is it is an eruption of volcano. Because there was this, if you look at in the history, Ladakh has seen, Ladakh has witnessed that the demography change, throughout the Kashmir, as well as Baltistan, and also there's a fear, it is rooted in very deep among the, especially Buddhist, Ladakhi Buddhist. So that was the reason, which Ladakhi Buddhist has to take the decision to form LBA, Ladakh Buddhist Association. And also there, again, many many outsiders also played important role in forming the LBA. But again, it is a matter of study that how the Pandit Dolu he's Kashmiri Pandit. So here, he has played a very important role. But before forming the another organization, I don't remember the name, but he excluded Ladakhi to participate in the particular organization. But somehow, he helped, even he helped drafting many speeches to the Bakula Rinpoche, and also and also there Ladakh witnessed that discrimination. Being a Buddhist, not only Buddhist, but also general population of Ladakh by the Muslim majority state. So these are the thing, these are the events that made Ladakhi to demand Union Territory. And this is him say, okay, so it's I will just. So Dalai Lama, I don't want to, I'll just go, give me 3 minutes. So here, towards communal harmony, the Dalai Lama's vision and the contribution. So I don't want to go in detail, but all of us know that the 4 commitments, right? The 4 commitments of His Holiness Dalai Lama. So one of the 4 commitments is fostering religious harmony. So here, whenever His Holiness visit Ladakh, so there's many times, even Ladakhi Muslims, they organize the special lunch for His Holiness Dalai Lama, and also they take audience from His Holiness Dalai Lama. And also, the very important thing, is when there was a riots in Zanskar. The many mass conversion took place. At that moment of time, there was a quite rites took place. At that moment of time, His Holiness played very important role in bringing both the communities together. So one of the newspaper has written that spiritual leaders, Dalai Lama today said, the resolving the Zanskar region Muslim Buddhist conflict was his biggest achievement during Ladakh visit this time, and he was able to solve the conflict as both the communities agreed to resolve the issue amicably, which was very important for communal harmony and prosperity of the region. So, and also now the very important part is I just want to name there's an organization called Apex Body, Ladakh Apex Body. So it's Apex Body is basically it's all the members. The members are from the different religious community. So they're in lay particularly. So because of that, inclusive nature of forming the organization, movement, and because of that, all the Muslims and the Buddhist leaders visit celebrate each other's the important festivals and other activities. So my conclusion, I'll just read the conclusion. The Ladakh is mainly home to two major world religions, and for centuries its people have lived together with mutual respect and cooperation. This is evident in the syncretic cultural practice of villages such as Kuksho and Chiktan, where Buddhists and Muslims coexisted without restricting their identities along a rigid religious line. Instead, they nurture and share sense of being Ladakhi, which allowed them to collectively preserve the region's rich culture, tradition, and custom. In recent time, however, increasing emphasis on religious boundary has begun to reshape this social fabric. Cultural practices, tradition, even the common Ladakhi language are often preserved as belonging exclusive to Buddhists, while Muslims increasingly feel less responsibility to engage with the preserve them. This shift risks fragmenting the shared heritage that once bound two communities together. However, we finally see some light at the end of the tunnels. If I may share some examples, the examples of Apex Body, Ladakh Apex Body, and also the following the guidance and approach His Holiness Dalai Lama on religious harmony offers a way to address this challenge. His vision emphasized that faith should never be barriers to mutual respect or cultural preservation. Instead, he urges communities to recognize the universal value of compassion, dialogue, and coexistence across religious tradition. By embracing this approach, Ladakh can revisit the earlier era where culture, tradition, language were valued collective treasures, not confined to any single religion group. In doing so, Ladakhis can foster an inclusive identity rooted in Ladakhiness, where religious diversity coexists with a shared cultural responsibility. The very foundation this shared culture is compassion and loving kindness, which I often refer to as the intangible living heritage of the Tibet and other parts of Himalayas. The Himalayas are not only source of many major rivers that quench the thirst of countless living and non-living beings, but also profound source of compassion and loving kindness, the qualities that are urgently needed in 21st century. At an important conference in Delhi, I share the view that preserving Tibetan and Himalayan culture and tradition means preserving this great living heritage, the heritage of compassion and loving kindness. Finally, I would like to emphasize that we all are connected not only through mountains, rivers, glaciers, but also through the greatest living heritage of all, the heritage of compassion and loving kindness. And also the heritage of compassion also practiced by the Muslim communities that we have in Ladakh. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you very much for your time. I would like to end with the prayer Jangju Semju Rinpoche, Magi Panam Ki Gyur, Keba Nyamba Mebaria, Gone Gondo Pever Show. And this practice, this culture, even we protest, we recite this mantra, which is basically on the loving kindness and the compassion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gumila, for those insightful reflection on Ladakh's pluralist tradition and His Holiness the Dalai Lama's enduring role in shaping communal harmony in Ladakh. Thank you so much. And our next speaker is Dr. Tsewang Bhutia. He is the head of the department in the Buddhist and Tibetan Studies at the Namgyal Institute of Tibettology in Gangtok, which is one of the most respected center for the study of Tibetan culture and religion. And he will speak on the contribution of Tibetan Lamas with special reference to the advent and dissemination of Karma Kagyu tradition in Sikkim. Please.
Lasso to Chela. Country Rave Corve Shinkam there, Pentan de Wamale Juvene, Cherezewa, Tenzin Gyatso, Shape, City Pato, Tenjuchi, Sotocho, Tene Ginduma, Namtang, Shenyang, Sokjarwa, number to Samaling Tapane, Samdita, Tash de Shujiche, Tene da Chetanke, Tirinki Yamoti, Yamashe, the Madavashim Batang, Mixeke, and Pekeva Sambuchung Shui. Tene teacher to Antirita Ganzo Camgurumbuchi, Jacatanta, Tetanta, Timbeani, Tanesu Mambuchi, Ngune, Ganzuki, Sambanashi, and Ganzuki Revachabanashinki, to Gore, Tindica number the Samala Tujichi Shuetang, the teacher to mix it under the song to put a Himalaya, Tene Delco Gita, Soshen di Tene Tatsojung, Tadikwa, Bena, Tibet Policy Institute, Tevanachi Sara Tarim Laptare, Tevanashi. Malam Tandanganzo charitable trust rate, and Shaya, Tene Sopaha number Samala, Ning Tabane, Tujish Shui, Tene Tanganzo Pechenima, Sumke Ringla, Puertang, Himalaya, and the Duke, Tateganaja Arunachal, Denjong, Peyu, Tolbola, Sopeki, Teneta Chuki, Chumare, Teneta Tina Langas, Lama Commandambeki, Charge Karikana, you meta, Zave Tene, number Sanji Pugi, Nangden Dinalaya. The corner be charge can't chung you the make or a peche tang in Masum Grinla, trailing Kala Kansam Nang Simbare, Rola. Tindi in the Kala Nigeta, that Nigit Tamshes, love and fetch a lap choco and Americanshi, Kainzana, Denjon Nalaya, Bayu Demajon Nala, the Peche Chelo Chitong of Yangachi Kone, Tine, Tangazo, Yameta Boka Yugi, and it Tayore, the Gana Shingit in Lama Command and Beta Charge Kala Kansam Chicola, the number Solani Shuegi, Beton Shui, Shui. And in yet that's all time shitty engine associate and think engine sikasum shuache. A very good afternoon to each and everyone present here. Most respected chair of the session, most venerable sanghas, and distinguished participants. First of all, I would say that it's my privilege and honor to be the part of the 90th birthday celebration of His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama. And I personally believe that the day itself is a blessed day in many ways, okay? And because we believe that His Holiness is an embodiment, a genuine embodiment of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, right? And whatever is there today, it is largely due to the organizing committee. Their tireless effort, their dedication, their commitment brought us together. And we have been discussing over 3 days regarding the history, the culture, the language, the geography, the geopolitics, and each and everything. And I believe that whenever we discuss about the Tibetan Buddhism especially, I think that the Himalayan border, the Himalayan frontier regions, we don't have our own particular narratives or historical significance without mentioning the history of Tibet itself, right? So whatever narratives are there, whatever history, and because we are geographically, linguistically, politically, historically, okay, we are deeply connected with Tibet. And when I say this, I simply remember, because we know that we have the Tibetan exile government in Dharamsala, and our sisters and brothers of Tibet, they left the country, they were homeless, they were landless after the Cultural Revolution 1959. And, but what I believe, and I really appreciate their resilient power, right? And it has been correctly said in English that what does not kill us makes us even more stronger. And this is exactly in the line with our Tibetan brothers and sisters. So today, as a result of this, as a result of dedication, hard work, and commitment of the people in Dharamsala, today we are under one roof, right? Belonging different community, hailing from different region, yet we are discussing the significance, the importance, the relevance of our history. So therefore, my simple attempt, I won't say that this is my scholarly deliberation at all, but this is my very simple attempt to articulate or to present, and I'm sure that my presentation will serve only as a nutshell information regarding the Kagyu tradition in Sikkim, okay? So the contribution of Tibetan lamas with a special reference to the advent and dissemination of Kagyu lineage in the Himalayan state, marking 90th birthday, Khoten celebration of His Holiness the Great Dalai Lama. So in the over 3 days, we have been discussing about the origin of the Tibetan Buddhism, the advent, the development, the establishment of Tibetan Buddhism in different regions, and more or less, we have been made familiar with the basic history of Tibetan Buddhism in the Eastern Himalaya. So therefore, I won't go into the details, right? The contribution, the historically Himalayan state Sikkim has its own culture and tradition, and Tibet-Himalaya relation is significantly important in terms of culture, religion, language, trade, history in many ways. The contribution of Tibetan learned lamas, scholars, and eminent Rinpoches in the frontier Himalayan states have been an encouraging effect for people of this state. The Namgyal dynasty, of course, ruled this Himalayan kingdom over 333 years. And today, to venture into the discussion on the Tibet-Himalaya relation, it may not be quite discreet to make a beginning with the arrival of Tibetan Buddhism in the Himalayan state. So when I say arrival of Tibetan Buddhism, this is obviously the initial period, the initial phase of Buddhism in Sikkim. And the common account, the very common belief is that with the arrival of Guru Padmasambhava in the late 8th century, Buddhism got established, Buddhism got disseminated, and Buddhism was flourished. And immediately after that, in the intermediate, when we discuss about the intermediate period of Buddhism, and especially in the Himalayan state in Sikkim, it begins with the arrival of the Nyingmapa Lamas, okay? The Himalayan state from the early history holds a special position in relation with our neighboring country, Tibet, on our northern and eastern frontier. And as a result of it, our state always enjoyed close connection in terms of spirituality, matrimonial alliances, cultural and political alliances, etc. The Himalayan state Sikkim is known as Bayul Demojong, meaning the hidden land, or rather a land of plenty and prosperity, and it was considered one of the most sacred lands of pilgrimage. The great Guru Padmasambhava, and I think that when we discuss about Guru Padmasambhava and especially the religious history, more or less we share a common narrative with Ladakh, you know, more or less we share the common narratives with Arunachal and Bhutan, etc. So therefore in Sikkim also, the account says that Guru Padmasambhava made sojourn to this sacred land from Tibet, which was known to the Tibetans then as a Bayul Demojong, and that today, as a testimonial, the imprints of feet and physical body can be seen on stones and rocks as a living testimony of historic visit. He entrusted Dharma Phalas, the guarding the land, including Kanchenjunga, right? Pauhungri, and these trees, can you please go to the next with the image? The guardian deities of Demojong. And then, next, with the images. Yeah. Yes. So here, from the images only, we can see that, and this is very common, the historical fact, the historical importance, that there are 3 guardian deities, dedicated guardian deities for Bayul Demojong, and we usually call it Kanchenjunga, Pauhungri, and Yabdui. and they are believed to have entrusted by Guru Padmasambhava to protect and to safeguard the hidden land. And then the great Guru Padmasambhava, he also consecrated 4 holy caves situated in the 4 cardinal directions with Tashiding at the center. And then immediately after that, the Rigzen Godemchen, who was the manifestation of great Guru Padmasambhava, came to this land and preached Dharma extensively. He also built a monastery at Pau Hungri in the western part of Sikkim, and this is a very common the religious history of Sikkim. And at present, with the arrival of 4 legendary masters in mid-17th century AD, they assembled in Yoksam Norbogang and started disseminating Dharma traditions in the land. And they were all predicted by Guru Padmasambhava. These 4 legend masters collectively came to be known as Naljo Cheji. The name of these 4 legendary masters in the Himalayan state, therefore, it is must and most important to explain it as brief as possible. The 4 legendary masters, or rather I would say 4 Yogin brothers, followed the guidelines given in the holy prophecy of Guru Padmasambhava and made their entry into the hidden land, Demojong. Among 4, the first, Jawal Hachun Chempo. He was arrived from Kongpo, southern Tibet, and entered the land from northern gate, thus reached present-day Yoksam in West Sikkim. So these are very brief introduction, and one of our speakers from Sikkim, he already spoke about the Jawal Hachun Chempo. Similarly, the second one, the Katho Rigzen Kunto Zampo, who opened Western Gate and entered the Holy Land through Darjeeling, the present West Bengal. And likewise, the third Lamangadak Sempa Chempo, Phuncho Rigzen, who unlocked the Southern Gate through Namchi and reached Yoksam Norbugang. The fourth one, who joined the 3 great lamas, who was called Phuntsok by name, and he was a descendant of a great ancestor of Kham and in eastern Tibet. He was found from eastern Sikkim, the present-day Gangtok, and was invited to Yoksam Norbugang. The 3 Nyingmapa lamas traditionally coronated him as the first Chojal of Sikkim, the religious king of this hidden land, and in 1641, in the presence of many local people, and named him Chojal Phuntsok Namgyal. And with this, the Namgyal dynasty of Sikkim, the Namgyal dynasty of the Himalayan frontier state Sikkim, came into existence. And we find that Tibetans are the first migratory group of people who came to Sikkim with the arrival of legendary master in mid-17th century. And although, of course, the main bulk of Tibetans reached Sikkim in the late 20th century, I think immediately after the Cultural Revolution in 1959. Today, we are here to make an assessment of the contribution of Tibetan lamas and scholars in the domains of religion, culture, literature, art, sculpture to contribute to the Himalayan state. Well, I now intend to draw attention to the Kagyu lineage in Sikkim. The Kagyu lineage has been the most extensive of the 4 great branches of Kagyu tradition. The teaching basically transmitted through Gampopa, a prominent figure in the Kagyu lineage who was a profound scholar and a spiritual master. After the passing away of Gampopa, the 4 great and 8 minor Kagyu sects emerged and developed, and the 4 great lineage of Kagyu. So they are the Barom Kagyu, Phagdo Kagyu, Kamsang Kagyu or Kama Kagyu, and Salpa Kagyu. And the small, or rather the minor sects are Drigung Kagyu, Taglung Kagyu, Tropu Kagyu, Drukpa Kagyu, Marsang Kagyu, Yelpa Kagyu, Yazang Kagyu, and Shuksep Kagyu. The Drukpa, Taglung, and Drigung Kagyu have survived to the present day, with the Drukpa being the largest, followed by the Drigung Kagyu. Kama Kagyu lineage has a long and glorious history in which it has established itself a supreme sect under the leadership of Jawa Karmapa. It has spread from Tibet to Himalayan states, including Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Ladakh, and of course now to the Western world. The Kama Kagyu, or Kamsang Kagyu, was founded by the first Karmapa, Thusum Khempa, who inherited the Kagyu transmission from Gampopa. Since then, the unbroken golden chain of Kama Kagyu continues till today. And I've also prepared the chronological order of the first Karmapa to the 16th Karmapa, right? The first Karmapa, Thusum Khempa, second Karmapa, third Karmapa, and 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So till 16th Karmapa, I have prepared the slides. And then the Kama Kagyu lineage got developed and flourished in Himalayan state Sikkim during the reign of 4th King Chogye Gyurmet Namgyal. This is how Kama Kagyu teaching got flourished in Sikkim. It is said that the fourth Chogyal Gyurmet Namgyal went to Tibet, disguising himself as a commoner. So when he arrived at Surpu Monastery, the main seat of successive Karmapa in Tibet, the 12th Gyawa Karmapa Changchup Dorjee recognized the Chogyal and received him with great ceremony and offer him throne and other honors. So of course, these are all there in the history. But other than this, it has also been said that on that very particular day, when the Chogyal visited Surpu Monastery, and he, of course, disguised himself as a commoner, and since this is a very oral tradition, and on that very morning, His Holiness asked his close attendant, right? And in our system, we call it Dwenyer, right? And he asked his Dwenyer that, okay, today we will have a very special visitor, a very special guest, so please welcome him. Anytime he will be here, right? And then they made all necessary arrangements. They were waiting for that visitor or the guest. And in the very late afternoon, Chogyal was there. So when Chogyal entered the room for Karmapa's audience, and Karmapa immediately welcomed him and said, Denjong Chogyala, Champa Lekso Seni. Karmapa was in the Sungwek, Loju Tinte Dul, Shrovala. So this was actually the background how the Karma Kagyu teaching got developed in Sikkim. Since Chogyal had gone there simply without any suitable presents for Karmapa, he promised that right after his return to Sikkim, he would construct a monastery for the Karma Kagyu sect and served as a patron. And as a fulfillment of his promise, Chogyal Gyurmet Namgyal, the fourth Chogyal, established Ralang Raptenling Monastery in southern part of Sikkim. He further assigned several communities between Tista and Rangit rivers, these are two the major rivers in Sikkim, to serve as a patrons. And these communities are like Barpung, Lingdam, Timi, Ben, Sangmo, Yangang, and Lingmo. And after the completion of the monasteries, His Holiness Gyalwa Karmapa performed a copper dust consecration ceremony from Surpu Monastery. His Holiness, it is also believed that the offering grains of consecration fell down from the sky miraculously, which was witnessed by the devotees present. And even today, there are families and elderly monks who possess these grains as relics. Subsequently, other Kagyu monasteries were founded in Sikkim, including Phodong Karma Thupten Tashi Chokorling, Rumtek Karma Thupten Chokorling, that is Old Rumtek Monastery, where His Holiness 16 Karmapa was there immediately after the arrival from Tibet, and Rumtek Shetup Chokorling, which is today known as the Karma Kagyu headquarters.
Excuse me. Sir, you have 5 more minutes.
Okay, sure. So I'll try to conclude, okay? And in fact, there were many Kagyupa lamas from Kagyu monastery in Sikkim. So that was actually the practice not only in Sikkim, even in Ladakh, in Arunachal, in Bhutan, because we had that in practice to send our monastery in the respective branches of monasteries in Tibet. For example, the Kagyupa monasteries in Sikkim, or the lamas from Kagyupa monastery, they used to go to Surpu or Yangpachen monastery. And Yangpachen was the seat of Kunjik Shamapa Rinpoche for their spiritual training under the guidance of His Holiness the 16th Gyawa Karmapa. But very unfortunately, after the Cultural Revolution in 1959, this practice remained discontinued from its original religious base in Tibet. However, Tibetan learned lamas and eminent Rinpoches established monasteries, retreat center, academic institutions across the Himalayan frontier states where our lamas are being trained and receiving education from their respective center. It is also said that during the reign of Chogyal Phuntsok Namgyal, the second Chogyal and second Chogyal Tensung Namgyal, a Barom Kagyu Lama named Konchong Gyaltsen, he came to Sikkim, and this master, realizing the importance of training and liberation in his human life, he sought a blessed retreat place for intensive practice, especially a blessed place blessed by Guru Padma Sambhava. Of course, he met Chogyal Phuntsok Namgyal and arrived in Tashiding, where he erected Changchup Chorten. After completing his dharma activities for the benefit of teaching and benefits of hidden land of Demojong, he left this mundane world at the age of 80 without any illness at a place called Chuntang, the present-day North Sikkim. And now I won't read out the detail, but I'll very briefly discuss about His Holiness the 16th Gyawa Karmapa and his activities. His Holiness the 16th Gyawa Karmapa, who founded Dharma Chakra Center in 1967 as a main seat of Karma Kagyu, and in 1959, the 16th Karmapa Rangchung Rigpa Dorjee, who left Surpu, along with many tulkus, incarnated lamas, and lay people. The Chogyal of Sikkim, Sir Tashi Namgyal, and His Majesty the King of Bhutan, Jigme Dorje Wangchuk, extended invitation to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa and his followers to take up their residence in their respective countries. The government of India also extended an official invitation to His Holiness Karmapa, as they had already made preparations for receiving and resettlement of 14th Dalai Lama and all the eminent lamas who were fleeing Tibet. However, in his perfect wisdom, His Holiness Karmapa perceived that Sikkim, the holy land of Padmasambhava, as ideal place for the preservation of precious Dharma. Thus, he proceeded to Sikkim. The Chojal of Sikkim then offered 74 acres of land to Rumtek to His Holiness, and upon his arrival in Sikkim, His Holiness the 16th Karmapa initiated the building of main seat of Rumtek Shedup Chokoling Monastery. And then the construction commenced in 1963, and the same got completed in 1967. And in the same way, the establishment of academic institution for the study of Buddhist philosophy, presently known as Karmeshwari Nalanda Higher Institute, Rumtek Retreat Center, Yewang Samtenling, for the practice of meditation, Mahamudra, and 6 yogas of Naropa. There were just a few of the many contributions for, or rather Dharma activities by Tibetan lamas in the Himalayan state of Sikkim. And in 1963, His Holiness the 16th Karmapa apprised His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama regarding the recognition of 14th Shamapa. And His Holiness graciously had given his consent for the same. And in the same year, Shamarumucho was recognized by Karmapa, and enthronement ceremony was held in Rumtek Monastery. So in the conclusion, I think you can go on with the images, right? In the conclusion, I would like to say that I believe that Tibet-Himalayan Relation Conference here in Dharamsala will be the milestone in the process of understanding past history, present, and will inspire us to strengthen our future relation. And I'm also confident that much of the unwritten facts and oral tradition would be gathered during this conference. I could also see that there's a lot to be written and told about the potential of religious and cultural links with Himalayan frontier states and Tibet. Perhaps this is the first of its kind in the history of Tibetans in exile. And the Himalayan state, that is scholarly deliberation and exchange of thoughts on historical perspective of Tibet-Himalayan relation, is being organized here in Dharamsala. So with this, of course, I come to the conclusion. And once again, I would like to thank our organizing committee members for this wonderful event. And as it has been correctly said, that coming together is a beginning, right? And working together is a success, and keeping together is a progress. So this is exactly what we are doing here, and I believe that something very practicable will come out of this 5-day conference. And through the medium of this dice, I would also like to thank our great historian, Gyantashit Seringla, for your tireless effort and for your dedication. And today, your work on certain areas of Sikkim history has been a reference for many of us in Sikkim. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tsewang Gyatso Bhutia, for finishing within the time frame, and also for your rich analysis of Karma Kagyu lineage and its deep historical connection to Sikkim. Thank you. Ani thada honzo ki tamshi ba sumbat di ani shitha kerab gyatso la de do khona tapu ina thanda melam phi the tin shepshu khana lo khona chomti ba shi de do an tharing khona ki jishi de phela tunge tu jimbe mayul ki ngenju kewa rinjun ta teda ki chomchi modu nan now gela untu now
Samala Tomar Trastile Samdrishu Tani Taringa to Lurji Ransi Dembi Potang Himalaya Sochendi Gen Sorzini Kodinan Ken Soti Boki Sikyong Shankacha de Yore Tetanyam Tani Talaman Toron Lomnia Kanda Sarapuchin Toron Lomnia Kan Molampuchi Dantusim Jikan Sopasum de Nyamdrk Mintoni Sondern the Kurdish Yudi, ni molam dan shimji kangi chapji ni andala pepe ni kyawan namba tang ani shimji ba namba timenge choshiba namba changmala samdra tashi dile shuayi tani tandang ni di karskorta tamshigi joshi rawati ta tandang dila sedewa dire ta pola tunyar de shimbi mari tang sangri ji ngshun ki choram shun ta te ta ka samchi ngotrosi chitang ta mari lamna tinsanga su latala ko yorwa ani zanskar di tangma ina tinsang latal labdi zanskar ta mari karso latal labdi karso ta mari ta zankar changma la ko ya ro changro da tinsang ina ya tangma ina ko mari ti ko logachi ani zankar ti yang ko logachi ni ko los dangi do tati chidi nimangong sisum la mar saja mar gosha nandi kabla ko loga trewarwa o tu sirisha tu chidi ngi dinang la lata malabachi kangchi ni mayir jine triwayin khasandi kong la ngaso tamsheba rembachi ki mayir tang mangayir tang lata ka korti mambachi shisang ra tu chidi ngi ane tambote la mayir sayati tangaran dila mayir sayati tagare samgi wata tinsa mayir jine training tu te ngi parche mata pare samgin tu tinga chibu samsar ke mare te tingsang lurji simji ba mambo chi ki te ani mata pare jin songin durwa ta tu ji di mariu se ati la ani karsa gorita drashin rawti ani drama mambo jagan du tingsang ina ya ani ko mariu ta mayu ni gan truya te so te mariu ke mara mark jinjig ra te ta mayu ke manga mang jinjig nga ta jinjig ra ta nga ni tang azu ngoma khija ni bati so parts sugar wa tinsa na je par jaya ta tin shita tab diu medi khija parshi sushi chi wi kabla ani ra ta nga ni par nor swa yin sa res o tu si ni ngin chi ge yor tu chi di tila tende jimse yor samgen durwa karchin la na azu to ngari kor ke yikcha ta khongden ro ti so azu so ti karis chi ge yor lamna kaki nga ta gi ngari jarab ta ani nimir ki jarab ta tani ane nyaranyama osar ke nyang chimjong ta tisu ani so karsoi ta yiksang content ro sige yorwa ta tisu ga nala ani marir ma to mair yo mare ta ra marir ra re tu chi de ani ti marir se ti ta ra ani mair se ta ra tin ndu do sama ti chi tirwa nibati ani ngachu chitang ga mair lawa ina ngachu norsa sikari yorlamna ngachu konthang mek ngari mek konthang tilani kala gore mair konthang labgarwa tu chi di te ani tende khoni partsara ni noren sare samgdurwa tu chi di ta mair se atilani ta shig ani jarab tang lurji tin din drinking gi ta khibaina re nyamshiba ina re ta tiso gi ani mair se atilani karsa gore mair se atila rashin ro tin ra manda mabu jagan do ta parna ani chi latak shote ne rete so sangma mau yo are ti chen ga marir la re marir se ate kali kali danger ni mari chabare se aro ta ya sajati ani ko saja masala chayo are ti chen sang ko marir la re ti ni kali kali ani mari chare se hata tan rashe da manda mambu jang kin dura ina ya ta tinri kali jago mandu samgu ngi tina tara marir rang ani yembachi marir tilanga so ani rashe kari jago ndus ro marir se ate la ta ko rashe kari jago ndus di ta marir ti chitang konda direndo ta marise ati chutang shangshong ke re sangdo marse ati karchin lamna shangshong ke la khsar ke mila mar law kare tu sidi mari lamna khsari law ko re law gndo ta tingi ko jimsen demba do thongi yore te karchin lawa yana te jimsen demba karchin thongi yor lamna jimsen tambo te lata te kanna ngamu ta nangamu ngazu shangshong ani gopu parsum se shendo ti nang gopu parsum ko lata te gopu parsum ko chashi chi indi ko tara sajati la ko na shangshong ga dati tende la yusabarwa oti jimsen chi yirwa da jimsen niba ro te ani tang gari ne ani ko ngari sho tanda lata ko sho to wala ani mari laware khsari laware lawena ta ko chitang ko ngari se ati po khsak tar khape mambu yosa tindri ge yirchi yimbati ta sang ngomani zonde sama shede achirwa lagbar ta na ngamo go miti so ge shejin la ani ngari ni serjong se ara wala so patindri ge ani ko thanye ani ko karsa gore ngajin la yora songdo tu chi din sabala ani ko तारा येरे संगदो तनी ती शीस अनि ता को नपशक पाए नारे ता ती माइम बाग अनि को शिमजिग ता ती छेली ग शिमजिग ता न्यामशी चिंगे ती सो ग या करजना ngari ग छपर त ngari ग पेना कोना कुकी ता रतो ता लाता ता ती सो लांदा अक्सर के तरका मंबो यो बा ता तिनरी मंबो अनि सेगंदो तु छि दिन संबाला अनि को तारांग ग अनि को करसो कर माइर से आती ता सांसों ग दा अनि यमबाजी तेयंग को तारा सय से ग तोंती तारा छंग यो बाती को जिमसे चिन रोंदु समगदो रवा तनी जिमसे सुंबा रवती अनि ता ngasu ता खासा मांबो शिसोंगा तंदा ngasu अनि ngoma तिरुपचिवा ता तिरुपचिवा गं गोरतो तो अनि चिदि निमांग गं अनि ता लाता क जरा गो नि सम तो चिनि जोंते अनि करची लमना करलो से गति अनि करसको ता परचे खाची इन सरवती के तो म मांबो शि जाम दो लाता लाता म पे मांबो जाम दो यहां से यहां जे म मांबो जाम दो तेसो गे अनि म जाया ति तिंसंग ग शिमजु बा तेसो गे करसी गं दो ति खोरान सो गे अनि करलो क म क लाता शो ता तिन ला पर चेंजर चिया ति खोरान सो गे ngakhon ति पर जस्ट चिया दो ता याना खोरान सो छिलि ति यार तरपर चिया ता तिन छे त मारे से खोरान सो खसन ट्राय गे छे त यों बारे खसन ट्राय गे छे त अनि तिन चिया रे से तिन तार तिंसंग न्याम से बा तो शेगन दो तु जि तिन रि गे जुमसे सम लाते न ngi samsri na tara mai se ati ko shangsong ga da ani ta karso gore ani ta kashi ge mari jin marla re samata mara mer shangsong ga da la sar kmila marla re kashi marla re la gundo ta kantar marta marni kan re na ko ni dato ni undo tu jin sambala ta tara mai se ati tara shangsong ga da chi yimba chi ti ton ti tara sari yimba chi o tin chi ni reshi jawa yana ta nga su pe mai रे मारे ता ता तिनरी मांबो शुगय मंदु समगदरवा तो चिना ngachula थर्से ते yang nyandu timato ani ko mai se ati karsana mare mai se wajina mai te ni ko ngari me ko konthang la ko rwa tu chi de yang ko parson thirsin dwa tu chi de da ngazu ani mayu la ta mai konthang lam ni khutti ni da te ni parson rego ma chi ga chi ko tangara tin chi ni rwa ina ote ya pondu samgdo te tang nge tandagi tamshen di ta thoma te la mai se ati da te tanjani o tin chi sheni troso tani tangi shea so roti ani shea so roti tangi ani karsa gorjana ta mariur tang zankar ni ani tanguma karsa gore logic tangla ani pola zomnya la phe ni ani tang khipyong bo chitang tang khipyong bo mambu chong yorwa ta ina yang ko ani chitang go khasa ge tupten parden ge sona si chiba ina ko desong do ko nguma ani latang ni ma pola zomnya ta ya ti parna mi shi imba ina ni ti trashilom bola phe gore ani ti ani ko hui ge densa la phe gore se ani ka tinga yo ina ani chig ti ani parse jen jal gore se ya ti song do ta ti luksu roti parcher ta lata jerab ta ti so nani ani thoma ina parcher lata jerab ta chushiba ina chasamba ina tangi janga di ta chi ma so ta kantel la chi ngitum gon se ya ti kabla ani chong bare lamni lata ka jerab ni shi ti ta da pema karun champa se ti nala ko sergin do o ture ta dina ya ti ngula ani ta ko mari na re irwa ani zanskari na re tini ani khiba mambuji ani pola pheyorwa o tu sire tu chi dita ngi ani tandani tambote la ani zankar ki ani yurni ani ta khitub kari ani pola phesha siti nanga ta so khashi chi shwe irwa ta zankar lochawa phapa shirab lana ta mangchiwa ga ha ko gre ani ko lochawa pe kata chambure rawa tu chi di khon ani tara kon thongsa ti zankar ki tanda ta tinsa sajati ngenzin chiba ina yurmi khashila trina zangar ke tanda phese ya yurte tan nibi ani mender se ya chi ware to ni thomba re lamni khoran so yurmi latte so kechati di tus law kendura nga sangar la thamachi chimba yiti kabla tagana ko jilin chine tindi law kendur ta yina ya ti shis ani ta po na ni nga chu nyamshu ba chi ani tanda lato ta zanskar tan de so la ko shimjik chi che ta po ni yong bare ro khu gi ani kare la song la na zankar lochawa phapa shirab te thongsa de ani tanda nga chu tinsang ta kargi ko khona yorwa puruk tanda yursu seya go tawani relamni khu tinri chin tha chobo chin sheshang do yati khu khong kawat go ima tingi ha ko ma ina ko nyamshuba ko shimji ba to ketok chambo yendi ko ta kanjo manjing shek ma resam ge tu chi dengen de la sham rong yursu ba seya ti ko damga chin tu go jim sen tin rawa ni ta ko thoya thonti ti tiruchi bina la rawa ta khong la samchi ti ni ta so ti ko mar korang rang samju mar juju tin ma bodo ko locha warawa tu chi di ta kanjo ta tenji ni na la korang gi jusho jogi tan do ta ju gi chise man ra tin sumju sobdin do rawa ta ti na ni kanjo ko na la chisen chi chi ani tenji ko na la chisen sum so jung do o tin chi shue yin tani ta sangar locha wa chutum junu se ya chi yore ta ti khasa nga chu doctor Tsewang jamseng go chu so song song wa ti de chi tang go koran namji sangar locha wa 상글 로자와지 시다 작으면도 다 공기 아니 말에 주셔jogi 인저상타 틴루기 나라라 다 츠트미저는 다 길롱 츠트미저는 다 로자와 츠트미저는 틴리마도 장스커즈니 시다 통기면도 예나야 코 장스커니 임바 마세 코 상글 로자와 파파 시르기 원보 임바 코니 커건 임바티 양 로지 익샤딘 나나 세근도와 도지디다 코니근 총일티 파르지 찍바 인지레 삼근도 때니 총디디 티르 찍바 지더니 다 콩라 아니 삼치디 다 덴저 그나라 저 덴저 그 트레너징도라티 콩기 니 저비 단다 상가 단저비 치센딘이 조심친도 데 아니 조샤망치와 그나라 아니 로자와 츠트미존나 양나 길롱 츠트미존나 오티리치 송도 다 예나야 콘 잔스커 임바티 간티 하고는라네 콩기 아니 인저 담식젠지 남신 초르마세야 아니 인저치크 저치크 인저상라 아니 잔커 츠트미존이 저와 락소즈니 오티리치니 잔커티 세우치니 코샹도로와 오투치딘 삼발라 아니 코 잔커니 임바티 테니 세긴도 세로와 tani nyare nyama oser ke ani chinjong ga nalola ko zangker lo jam phaba shirab ke ombo yimba ta ani khoni khong yimba te yang ko sewu chin kho sandura tu chi din sambala te tangara ko zangker ke yimba te sewu se chan rez oti chi shwe tani ma yona ani ta tromba sundi jansen se ya jin kiba chi chong ge ndo tanda tromba sundi jansen ta tanda di ogni tanda kiba tapu pa lozan tamchi se ya tinri chi yongare tiso tanda ngasu zangla gi jarju ni ngasu zembo gi ni jarju tire sha ta khasang zangla gi ni jarju tiso gi to song samsong ta tromba sundi jansen se ya te ani senjela tromba jarsa pa jin o tinri song du ta ina ya ko jarsa pa se go ya ta yangna tila tromba se go ya tiso jumsen karim ba ti seu chi shimazo ta ko zembo jarji mishani ko jarsa ro tinri law ko me ro tingi shi ya ko shimazo tan choir te zangla re 아니 단 총디티 세우요아레 직동 어느 납자 tuk지랩더니 직동 tuk자 납치고 바로 데려와 다 삼치카레 요마티 시타 세우 응외마송 아니 롬냐 나사티 코 담보티 아니 마 잔스카니 마 폴라 페유칼라 담보티 시라치타 산라 펜두 아니 티 질라 딱부타 산라 펜니 딱부타 산이지 오 틴디치샤 다니 타푸바 로산 담치세야 데레 단 코니 양데레샤 아니 tanda zanglang khar ke nani thoi ba kan sila khoni khon resha tapupat losan mare tromba sundi jamseng gi kumchi gi sirendo tapupa losan tamchi o tuji di khoni ni dirsha khon resha ta khonla ani tapupa losan tamchi dela ani de karsa gore ta samchi ti 상실 람름기 체크를 당하더니 송글tin이 마본도다 데기 아니 트롬바 순디 잠센 당 타푸바 로산 탐친디소 아니 람름 라마지피 남터게 나나 코 세기 요라 가르지나 코 지름부치기 지 송카바 쳔보기 상실 람지르름비 아니 코 가르서거래 지피 라마틴디 양코 아니 케쳔보 수치와지 차간도와 오투치디 삼발라 콘 남니게 남터티 단다 데니라가 요래 같이 말해 용지 이시 잠생근 제비 상출 가서 람람 라마지피 남터게 나나 세운드로 티나라니 타푸바 로산 탐치게 남터게 촐라 아니 콩게 송 잉거틴리 양 카시지 티나라 장상도 오 틴리지레더니 콩 아니 롬냐 나사 소테 아니 상트라실럼보레샤 데레 탄디 아니 콘 남바니 아니 포쳔보기 저진 트르메 tanda nga zo zangla jabo gi jarju ne kontrong bare sera ani ta tapu ba lozang tamchiti tomba jarsa ba gombo re tu chidi khon ani nambani la iksha khashi gi nang lola tomba yapsi ni sin o tin chini khokindu tomba yapsi ni labdi ta tomba tapu ba ani jarsa ba sundi tandan te tang ani tapu ba tamchi khon nambani la ani tomba yapsi ni bogindu tan di dire ngangma ni tong chubjelo de nga zanskarla chinroyba o kapti ti tanda zangla lang khar sarba ta nimba ni yorwa tu chi di zangla gang khar sarba gna la ni tanda khar ko gang la ni lakang chong chong chingwa o ti na la ni ta khona ba ni gen rak ti shuk shamdo ta ti ani tromba sundi jam sen ta ta pa tamchi losan tamchi khona ba ni gen rak ti re zangla gang khar kana na shindo tani drapkhang gele jamso se achi yong du tan deyang sanskrit kin kiba chire deyang tagaran kon thongsa te zangla ni thondu ani deyang pe ani tanda kar so gore lama pe katak chambu shiwi chi resha de ani tanda di karsa phorchonga shamba gi ani lama resha phorchonga shamba gi drapkhang gele jamso gi namthar ti yore tu chi deyang di namthar ti jendo na yang phorchonga shamba gi ani song na na yore on dirisha de ani karso gore thonsa ti zangla chi tani mar pola lomnir pepsati ani tabo rasang pendo ta tambo ani rapt shongsa ta tisu parchindiri shandi zanskar ki tanda sankar lozawa pabashirap ke densa karsha gumba otani ani karsha shambali ni ani rapt shong tani tijila ani lo khashigi jila ani polama phamni tabo rasang na jundu otindiri sham ta tani tandi trupchenga sirin tanda trupchenga sirin de yapsi sumiwarendi chitang pola Slovenia la pepi logitindi jemason trupchenga siran la ranam yuarete pola peati parchemendu ta ina yang indina la kogo jumsen kari la na desola ko samchindu to chide yang ko te kechamo do jin thonso te so yang ko ranam du tani tangar tindri nyambo tindri mambondo to chidin sambala yang ko kasagoreta na sanskar ki khiba kari yume ta te so la samchi kari yume ha ko ni trona yang te so yang kechamo chi chagandos ta trupchenga sirinti tanda narobagi rumni zongkul seju tani shingdoa ote konthonsa te atin se atire ta tanda zongkul se ga lombati nan rosagi dotwala ani atin se tomba chingdoa ote ni thonjorisha ta khonla ani ranam ta tangal la sopa tinri yang chamchi pochik sindura
naskela kamashil hatu kela
kamakasu
shi
oho ta sarsa mare ya ani tuchi ta tani ma sangar dangan deni beti deni kaga chagda dinga kensen 어디르샤 tani kitu jeba dorji tandi tanda ani kongi sire rawa tani lama kunga chelandi kongi sire tangi nganjopon jopon roinda gonda tani bakela lobsang ishi tembi jamsendi ani zangla nim thondundi ani pola ani lonyela phe ribon loselin phe ani gishi tang ni karso gishi tamja sha tendi chini ani yara phe jo tendi re rawa ta tani ta marir kin khitu rumshanti nani ta tambu to shansa shiru zamboti changmage ha ko re na dela ani ko samchi kar yumeti ha ko mason ta kantar ji chongka la loma ani ngilu temba shonta khori ta chen truk se ji ro oti nang chi ti ani to shansa shiru zambo se ta me shansa shiru zambo ta to shansa shiru zambo se ni yor wa ti nang to shansa shiru zambo re khong chongsa ti ta mo se ya ga lomba ti re ta tammo ni khong ki tambo ti la ani aso robo giluk ba gi ta tembi chi tambo ho ni sa ti ta tammo ga lakhan serbo se andi ro wa this is sanji jamso ge gedem ani chinjong ga nalo la ani tammo chide se ya ji tindi chide zini pe tindi chi yor ina ta chide la ni ko gindu karso ور gindu jirdi ma to tele par gindu diso te shita mampare insara te mampare che ani khong loma ani tanda on warden shirb se tela ani kanga na ani thisi gumbati chata barwa o tu sere ta tinsan thisi gumbati ani rogilipi magoyin sengo jumsenti tela thu de yore tani tandi ke chambo chindu de lachan lobsang tembi nyama se ti thonsa ti nobrare nabrak shamshok uma se ya saja tire shati kon thondi ti do ina ko diloti sew mandu di chitang mandwa chi karin dulam nandi sang trashi lambola pheni ani chirkhang tra sang kharam khambo nandu rawa penchel lozang chijing loma chiresha tani purtung dansa shal gumba gin khantok chakchi barisha trashi lambo kharap ti lo nish chani la nandu shal gumba khambo ti lo dunla jindu tandi pe mandwa chiresha ani shis yar ani navra la yar pheni tinsa ani navra chakra sa se ya tanda ningoma la tak jabu nima namjer siksa kharchi yara o tigi nalo la ani khong kadon ga nalo la ani de kunyen ta kadon yara kadon ga nalo la ani khong ani ku me re se tindri ga ni dindri chindu tan di kadon ga nala yara sing dong asu tinsa kadon na ngi sinje dokumentu te na khona so par jam ni de la sha sandu tan di nire la kor ta ti chitang ga ta tan de la ani ge ani nga sera shabo ta ge ani tudam par den tan dindri ani ta la tak pe khiba ani karso gore ani traga tin rishi de yudi tangi shiu ndrashi chako mare de ena ndi nga toba de kari yong du zendi ku to ta meti ani chagra sala yore to ti tanda pu trial la yore la kundu ena ya trial la ta ku to de kemendo ena ya ta kuzu shetan chi wa ena ku ponti ani karso shimbur chi ni ti ge ani ta ning se gorwa ta nga su shisa ma jam na ning rawa ning ti ani ko sha chi yong ni ani kini ani yigi rig gantawa chila ani kisong rese tani ani jini shis ani ru gantiwala ani ngombu kurchi jane ngombu kurku ani zonshik la ani te jude rese ta tinsa ani Ladakh lurji ta teso ga nalo la ani nobra wa pension nobra pa kordon te ani tomi ni chini ani tote ani tayar la yore se ati ta kordon ga tote che remendu kantar ko thuti resha o ti resha te ke seudoji shina samso tani ta dirichi yongora penche ani lobsang 말해 기시 롭상 트라시 데 가르친 라와나 데 단당 가서 라탁라 tak하상게 디 doctor Tsewang jam생 송송 알다 라탁 라마 츠루니마세야 땅 기바 참부지 종요레세 라마 츠루니마세야 티 라탁 니럽 글로지 나니 페케 참부시 우지그레샤 티 가르친 라와나 라마 츠루니마기 남테르테 콩그 아니 loma chikin ze yore kong loma tege ani namter ti sentri la tamni ti ani mar pola pheni jaga kamtra choksam bage yonz phurchar rambo chi la shata nang chi ni ani ti parkap si che sama yonz phurchar rambo chi ganze tu si chi ni ani po na ni ani shimbar la ke ni ti ya la tag la den re shi ni ti ani shimbar dama chik tong la chi yore ti tinsa ani la tag ni patrin ni tefto me ni la par yore ta ti nge katina de ke chamu shi re la ke yo karchi lab di ani tagonda lama sroni ma olan ro lama sroni ma ge lama re shatan de nge so di tan de she de dire tan di san la gishi mala lab kindu kashi gishi mala lozan ta shi tin la gundu kon chonsa ti mangju se dire mangju la kashi menju lab kindu wa o tere tani tan chonti ti tirb cho je ba chi ani lomnya na sa tin repon re tani tan디 라마츠루니마디 단당이 셔야되래 콩그 남들때 인치민식 라탁 니럽 그 로지라 아니 야보치 신고나 락버트 아니 조라 와신다 코조요니 라탁라 아니 가서 버다 강을 망부트에라와 오 티소기 로지 야보 신고나 니버트 라마츠루니마가 로지라 타고야 로진 통기동이 두치등인데 페케션 통기요 tani ta lama tsitrunima ge se lama tsitrunima la se ni ishi rabji se ji chombare se ishi rabji ti ani lama tsitrunima gomba ma zong la se ishi rabji ti ani chombare se ishi rabji chondi ani khong ge ani te la turku ji zani turku ani tan da la ta yang thang se sa chat ni chombe ani se tro lo zang tsitrun chimber se andere tan di nirab ke la ta ke lorji ge nalo ni la ta khiba ge nalo ni pencha ta gen senya yong ke ti khong chi bore 다 라탁은 케바가 나네 벤트다긴 세년 용게라디 벤트다세야티 딘상 아주 소소 그 아니 기트다 마소소 기겐다 티리사 챵보치라 람상 마하 벤트다 타 치치치세 딘리사 마이엠바 콩라 벤트다긴 센송케티 보크 키바테소 그 서주리샤 다 티낭 키바긴 센센 로치시바이나 두이 기비 시르 잠소 콩기 아니 베 아니 마이르 그 아니 벤트다 챵보스나 오틴디친 센소샹도 오투지디 디펜 키바 한사에 챵보레 다콩
게라 투즈소
라소 아니 녜지도 인 도지데다 콩라 삼치틴데 페 mambo 요아레 테 아니 라타 파튼치 요아레 다니 콩 아니 쿠버틴데레 아니 콩 샤존 키바 시오레샤 라트리 틴디 다브리 틴디 페 mambo 요아레 다니 콩 아니 페 이그즈 틴디 틴디 야포트인데 단디 니비 로치니 콩라 아니 단다 티무스 간세 또아니 아니 미상치가 락바니 라조기 콩그 아니 샤친 제조기 tum바기 남테레 콩긴 제조레 당아 콩긴 제조레 셴바 슈주틴디 마레 티그 마시레 따따단 딘디 야본도 어두지디 다양코 라타바치이나 콩 니버던데서 하고가 깨첨보레 삼고라 가르나 소소그 파메 야미티소 디디그 아니 키바 쳇던 바바 딘디 쫑나 니버도 신고레 삼고다 다텐디 콩그 남터치 tani tati magwachi tani ta bagalaram bochi ta kachen lobsan tani kachen ishi to ndro ta kharsan tani razon sit to teni ma tati thamati ani tagara samala tuji che
tuchina ge kerep gezola ani gela ge thanda mayu gi khewa rimje phela phege namta an teda gi ani samche to ngoten na wala ni ni taban tujina shwe ta thanda thama de onzo gi tamshe ba de ani ge Dr. Lobsang Dorjee Rabling na resha ani khorang tapuina thanda u phegi chula lomnyer khang ki ani Gyatso de singi kinzi chale nangidu ani thanda khorang ki tamshe gi jushi de ani Tibet namta ta de ne phegi ki to tamshe dupthe laskela kela zunarna
마전다 좀 쳐려야 구장고도 또네 배다 히말라야 데람 거기 소제 우리는 게 초박하다 자전다 봐 배다 히말라야 유르칸 페베 지류장배 캬라키시 캬와 담신하게 나바당 소전하게 나바당 냠준하게 정말 다리 대산님한테 답답되는 잠지기 안타실래 쉬이 다단데 얘기 되는 마 담시에 제가 주시들 생겨 좀 담긴데 대화요 말에 가래 대화요 쉬베나 다 단데디 베베기 这边路边的地方咱们要讲，我这个确定是兄弟第一句了吧？第一个内容个嘞，第一用当用路的，空气这边那么大的，然后里头那个车咖喱，我这还过有嘞，第一个了学，等于就是第二，这边那么大的这呢，别个给到南西，主对是等于给些什么的，我是主对讲义，多我们的现在写的呢，他看完那么上章，安尼就有个的送。也是当年的嘛，多学习。等我的就这里呀，我把一个小嘞呀，给巴路下叫问下呀，安尼呀马的谁nam，算那梅鲁旁加入卡也没那么嘿，下家的不听那么咪，下家的不听那么咪，下家的不那么咪，他第一个比如的，特别对这下家这东西。现在没都对个碰上吧，谁个路他不几百个，下节开不得了查着了，下节开不得了查着了，下节开不得了查着了。送的那句我这忙不起，搞送的话是呢，路个送来送过来，这路送嘛的，第看见媳妇这个送来，这些那给了对吧？是第一个想点的，这个那个的。他当然给他们学点多的电视剧，他那电视工作也没关系。slabs de gata ba yore tangi jogo le shigi tangu de tembe daja ge temba udam ben ne ta tuse me da was ti tonda tangu di iba de koranga de le kun shi ko de ne de sures suba de temba tebe on ko tang an tang zi ma dang an yum sum ki gu tang mo milam kare mi bres shiba de chuden nam da dong sen de ka ya res ngao de nang be chuden tangu de ka wa shen bres duba de gudung chage ge chuden kare res ka wa ya res 대신 주된 게대 가르랬어. 벽이 이기 수저로 대 간에 벨랑 그랬어. 개인 어디 담바대 벽이 송주 시세대 가르랬어. 순단이 자갈기 다리고 좀 가와리야. 아니 빼대는 잡아랬어. 전다 도도디. 다 담부디 디 나와주다. 저제 세 번에 다시 넘어도 담배세. 상당 계정 게대 장전에 장주리 성에 제 차들로 사디 저제 제다 총서 뒤로 봐. 다시 대상 것을 세비나龙地了吧？第三点的，你们当过电视剧啊？他电里啊，他那年你是什么时候没看过的？刚才跟你做决定，就3千的了，恐怕不能，我那几天的了，就是说，这是给把叫了加上10的话，要是叫那那要的，他电里啊，你是去把这搞了是呢？上个月当时个星期的话，电里啊，现在嘛他什么要的？他电呀，我不是就跟他当，都学习从这边呢，新两年才给我来当不来是个的。대등에 쇼단도 송대 그 다음에 그 트런데 가들라는 로데 가들 두개 사슴을 라겐 직당 응압제 시샤슴을 라겐 니어리 삼지번도 니 찾아와 니버디 도트디 야셔를 보셔서 제면은 신발라셔를 좀 담으라스 아니 컴바티인 펜에 배버래 용기 들어는 담으라스 거래 삼지번도 니도 와다 도트를 신바줘리 아니 니들은 같아서 줘리 빨리 나리야 비난디야리 디나로리아 신 아니 샬게 월 담아레스 다디 담서디 신동 카마다 스무라게 요래 당에 심주 전에 나랑게 섬지 제베나 녀데 같은 곳에서는 신 빨아시면 나왔습니다. 그 신신반이 뒤쳐보 줘서 이게 자녀배를 줘 말이 터보여 여러 봐. 신 빨아서 춘주 마버리 전에 여러도 얘가도 좀 말이 뭐지. 주디 우리 집에 왔지. 이게 좀더 가리서는 신 빨아시면 나왔어야 돼. 전다 당고 뒤. 전다 녀부터 가리서는 상가주변에 통제들이야 아니 두전 있었으면 생각지 당갑지 시셔지니 여러 갑지 시셔지니 두전 있었으면 통화래 갑지 시셔지 문양을 대버지 네가데 이동자면 있어가 제비는 간다 이동 갑지 두전하고 다시 벌어 네 다들 저번에 지를 켈린디 거래 이 레스 거래 근데 얘네 얘라 얘기 가리서는 네 다다르면 되었어 다들 인상 켜봐서 가르쳐 거라서 네 말했어 네 가들에서 쉬비는 내도 갑지 시셔선티 디메나스 이 손자 쉽게 얘기하면 되게 배정디 양을 돼야지. 디지면 혼이 바라 로 두죽게 봐야 돼. 디 좀생 가지는 게 뒤에 쉬면은 디 세리도 좀 받고 쉬어야 돼. 가에서는 아니 디 여러 개보 양의 매개 뽑어도 밀려 잔도 그 머리에서 그래. 잔도 그 머리에 디 킬크니 로직이 제일 안에 들어도 디 알렉산더 디 코파 자갈마 자가 용되는 파파 로진지 코비게 정사에게 그 로직이 그거로 니다 군인이 따다 되기도 되네 맞제비는 로직 같이 따따따다 되고 디선다 라이 데비스타 라훌 상거다는 게 공수 시선 제비나 아니 단디 아니 쉬지 자সম디 양대디 태워지고 어디선가 뒤쪽 이 체리 때문에 더 스타디 하나 중재 수를 쉬셔지 다들 군양을 태워드리게 되십니다. 그래서 갑자기 시작시당 쉬지 자সম도 어디지 다들 이 중재는 게 세상 상황 대교에 대해서 되는 그렇게 다 되는 마음에 그래서 인당하게 공등에 대교에 도와대 이거 어미게 쓰는다 기부 다와 배워서 되고 어쩐다 그것도 머리에 와 그 베게 그래서 송전이 싸지도 와 베제 그 정계 되는데 알렉산더 베제 송전이 싸니도 이제 정서에 어디 로직이 개봐 이게 로직을 그래서 딩이 쉬고 다 디가라서는 당선 돈나들어 와 간수시나 아직도 못 내려 와디 때문에 걸려야 그런 롱된 제로 와 롱된 가르쳐서 야는 아니 집에 디패스 쉬고 되면 디인 되거나 야는 키노네서 야는 안에 라도 조사를 중도 아끼면은 걸려 개부책을 라도 조사 상기를 서로 와 디송이 아직 못 내지 도와디 이래 롱된 제로 와 딜이야 개부디 쉬고절로 갈라 개부 세상 두 맞아 전에니 디게 찹들이야 양개거라기야 집에 계획 깼다 말했어 집에 계획 나로네 집에 찍여래 집에 쉬쉬도 명이야 고시 가운데니야 세다는 가서 건디네 시대도 어디 밑에도 와 대야 랑한테도 와 어디들이 공야 아니 지기 개발 이번 맛이 안디어 가서 동바대지 랍동에데 니 시비상 시비다 동저다 어디 공기로 된 가르쳐서는 디베도 거라 샤바삼을 주고 얘기한 버다 그런 주고 찍기한테 디키면 내서 말이라도 좀 알아서 하세요 다들 우지도 찾아놔 개발을 글리시 랑에 되는 알려요 다들 우지 좀 못해 디스레스나 디고시 거든에 쇼래는 상계 좀 된 데걸로 망가지고 나오니 다 로모서 다니 상계게 저 당국 갱갱이 지울 데걸로 못 차르와디 어디 뜻은 디레 디기 아자되기 빈자자 디멜이야니 보디 줄라 권한 게 다월이야 저게 디기 보디멜이야 안에 잠매부 강부 생기 좀 그래 그래서 봐 인데레 다디 집어 몇 개지도 와데 그래서 생성은 되게 대상으로 먹었지 다디도 와 다 집어 개고 롱대 등에 되월도 그런데 기계 쉬 먹었지 다들네 그래서 줘 다들 이제 두용 디 초시스 다들네 밀람 개지다래 기부 당원을 밀람 시 아니 장지만 밀람 개 아니 상계 좀 된다 밀람 독스 디 밀람 가시단도 와 다디래 디 밀람이어서 정말 더대 가요 그래서 내가 어제 누가 신나를 지나야 이거 버리고 돈 알려래 다디 쉬우지 기라쳐 버려 다 상계를 밀람들 땅 장지만 밀람 개지 땅 술 장지만이 아니 상계 좀 된다 시 상계 좀 되기 안 되기 되시 중국 등에 쉬 먹었지 동동동에 대 가르치는 데 와서 나와 디슈에 가서 나중에 어제 가르쳐야 되고 전 단지마 상계 좀 되는데 가야 마서 나네 같이 상계 좀 되는데 기능이 라도 좀 되네 아니 보다는 되지는 사실 디 말했어 말하면 dos 가야서는 상계 좀 되는데 파 보다는 화변이야 단지마 님들 구들 쉬워진 나게 아니 신의 패시아스 대전 타마타마 가르쳐서 그냥 가와 패서 이네 데려 양을 실어지스 상계 기 디그레스네 되게 받을 거를 좀 더날 수가 요래 그래서 등산 교실 쉬지다 디 말해 쉬 다디래 알아도 좀 잡아라 디 우르지는 것도 와 우르지서 사제대 가와래 등산 아니 우르디 가와요래 더 등에디 우르지는 이게 라이를 쓸수없는 텐데 쉬 이걸 할 줄은 지기도 와 사제 등산 디르데 근데 사제대 가와요라서 나와 내티도 와 이게 더 그렇죠 장도 와대 너시 잠시당 김다 대바진 남기 초대를 우달랑배 최대 찍대서 당동양 최대 차차배 결혼 다 차차도 스타디리 디등산 가서 보면 우리 가와요 하고 말해 디레 가서 같은 최대 남자 좀 디레 했어요 디레죠 디레야 도리니요래 다 디디 시모체 다 디네 걸로면 나가 페로와 디 링불달 하전이 날로면 나가 페데 거르데 다디 차서 시모체 가제 코난이 인탈 페니 아니 코난 투스 마송 소야저와 디 어디 찍거는 되게 월거도 와 되네 장주선바 디님도 공대 람디네 셰번니번 뭐 통원니번 뭐와 나는 양다고 저번 장주도 아니 정주 번니번 많이 놓냐뭐 되네 코난이 인탈이야 투마점 전에 줄려 코나베게 도지들이야 근데 검경아 페로와 줄이야 코난이 소원을 신친데 루리카와 째나로와 그래서 연애 루드카와 째사와 저리 루리카와 미투 아니 디칼라거든 많이 해보고 정전에 줄이야 아니 그런 수시들이 라도 가서 대버선님 그 타당 예시디베 타 타니데 빠니 아니 위를 내면 시라티스 마세비는 아니 미시서는 베데 그러니까 산지도 가야지 그 미두스네 권한들이 공과된데 타니를 내고 우드스네 위를 내려와 어디 내서 이게 되는 권한 글로만 가지 롱라지 바와는서 로치 버봐 어디 데데 노주디르데 다들 직전 이번에 도지딩스 정서 직시에 대해줘와 도지딩 디르베선 도지딩 제대로스 디자지 전시에서 도지딩 원에 가서 도지딩 디르 했어야 돼 그러잖아. 가서 비비 명다에 디 거다 하잖아. 와저 아선 생들 따도와. 이는 명도 또 와저 아선 때와 들이대. 저주 전신 소들 치지요래. 어디 저주 전 기대들 안 하는 데는 베베 명디 도저히 될 수가 없어. 생님 디 제고 거래. 내내 어직도 어디들이대. 디기 전에 같이 버려. 가서 남지 가르쳐 되고 그러서는 부메랍도 중요하대. 상계 좀 되는데 쉬우까 아주 꾼가 벌어서 쉬우지 안 배대 거는 우주전지 줄에는 부메랍도 중요해서 저러와 디기 전에 산 냈다 말했는데 너 거로나를 세워요래. 상계 좀 되는데 상계 사와 사람 상고라니 디 뒤기 아니 수요지 다 그냥 그리고 괜찮은 장면에서 소화사 삼체 차려서 당고 전시도 두기에 받은 가서 받아 전시 두고서 받아 괜찮으면 소 상고부터 상계 zas다 그냥 신경처럼 배로 지서 소화들이 잡아야 단단하게 내가 사람이었어. 내야 아니 상계 대초된 긴디기 뜻을 뭘 맞지 때문에 나와 있어. 디네 안에 거는 아니 갈라고래디 디 갈라고래 고랑 다치 캠바치 달라 마음이 말 막걸라 정말 최대서 마식 받은 거 두면 디선다 고랑 딜이야 코르남식 장기 있어데 코르식 장기 있어도 코르지 날려야 아니 결혼 방문인데 개인 방문이 날려 아니 결혼 많이 해요 봐. 이 나고냐 둘 통도 열었어 그래. 또 코로나를 세워요 그래. 어디지? 다 되는 데도 와. 준다 배전 두번이 봐요. 델리아 아니 queen이 페버레스. queen이 페이지 단데 반메고 디 총반이 용제 상겔리아디 아니 셰제피도 와. 셰제피니 안디 거사 다디 기진가 가서 들다. 최대한 당고대 그래서래. 아니 코날이야. queen이 아니 상겔 좀 되게 우단에 뜻이 권한 전에 줄에 최대한 지시는 잠불링 최대한 당고 되려셔야 돼. 내가 바르만 셔셔야 된다. 바고다세디. 디드네 좀 총원이 어디 시험 레스팅에 빠르시던 도지래. 진디스로서는 초롱원을 대대게디 쌀 공부도 되게 파고 셔리버래. 베겔라 구조시도 어디 파고 따디래. 그래서 셔리버를 라마 연애면 그러나 때서 연애면 디 상기 좀 되는 말은 담발라마 담보서에서는 안 디레스. 파고 안에 붙거나 파고 따디레스. 파고 따디서에서는 코로나 돼서 원하는 현실이 현실이 파고 들어가서 디 कुशिको दिनेरवा कुशिको दिने से सिगोरा कुशिको दिने मिंगुने मारे कुशी लेके ज्ञानी सिगोरवा दी खेजु सिगोर ये के चुए तंगो सिगे लगवारे कंटिन्यूस इन द रिगजिंग मिंगने कोना मिंगुने मारे शुई कोना साजा कोना फने रिशास करता ये शुनता तने निबा दे खट्ठो संदी भागवता दिरेस भागवता दिगी ने कुनालिया अनि शरी बोलिया चुए सोया के चुए चिक दिरदे 저는 담지 유를 좀 되게 되신 싶어서 누르고 봐 가야 봐 개정치면 되게 송세 쓰기도 와 대대상 가서 쉬어 짜지 못 되기도 와 디송이 좀 전에 거나 대방고 손 통으로 와 대대상 어디를 해야 돼 저는 가서 디 최대한 가다 상황 송출로 해야 돼 직대는 직도 와 해 담아 해도 버봐봐 해동 대신부터 다가도 해 와듯 대삼자요 니로 대왕 와디 마셔만아이 직디 가서 대와 땅에서 가 속에는 자거래 어디서 하자거래 아니 가서 디 송하 자도 거래 최대한 송출 제야 당하는 가서 대와 라는 지에서 직대는 좀 그랬어요 다디 그래서나디 좀 상점인데 오늘 디 뭐디 가서 로 두임비절 수 그런 게 kabel basul tu perwa ani konang di se tazin jinda ani tumun tanzin mare ta di shulia ani charwa ani meng de mege de kona smuta di gelo ma charwa kadiyan sangwa se de kadayana batra se godire ta di rodo jor dire kasa se tazin dire di ta kona dikeji to del naga chimo jorda di yang dire kasa kona tum tanzin marwa tanzin mas der sangge chimo dire shablia cha se de wa de phalong de ya palaji de wa gewu je lang do di gewu se sang mare 디 가르쳐 거라서는 와 캐나디네 포단에 셰프네에서는 캐나게 주지 가르쳐 따라 아니 캐나게 주지 되긴 대선 캐나베데 샤단페서 코나 아니 창고 그마서 샤한 그마서 코나게 들어 캐나 들어다서 세브세서 코나게 들어서 아니 코나 티그는 이거서 뭐라고 사가는 예서 계속 비서서 디데레 레전디기 아니 디 상호야 슈거를 쉐 찍디르데 더 있는 거 버리고 온다래 더 따디레 따디 거르스나로 와 미게레 거르사 양과제레 따디게 관리 거르선 디디게 디셰 거래 데체 따디 띵슈 거래 디 맞아 등사 띵슈 쉬우지게라 좀 찍도 와데 띵슈 거게 디 당고 디 공가고 상점인데 아니 테마섬 담아 공가고 쉬어 되니 공가고 마셈제 되글는데 저 띵슈 게 거래 계지 단도 와 따디 슐이야니 등상 가서 띵슈 찍도 와 디게지 디레 디레야니 베데 거나 저기 간 것이 된데 네 개월 쉬어라서 공개 자원이 한 바고 쉴 때 쉽게 되잖아 야 배치 다 살아 네 상계 시에게 켈렌사로 디게지 되어려 디슈 먹어
라 까망가 사샤
다 까망가 다 까망가 지 돼래 다 다디도와 데 상계 되는데 얼마나 타마들래 근데 줄 없사래 대출 저 타마 디래 저 당고 것이 거 되려와 디래 That the Yangal Desonga, Tangaki and Toto Karasha was the Mazaki Diva, Sanji the Shing Shades of Jalia, the Putildi, and it to get kitchen and shooting shares. That didn't your yours. Getting some custom of Sanyamare, such as the Koyama, Skivusu Kiba, that digging to the security teaching such as some of the mountain Sankoya, just the tissue, and a Putil Sakara or such as the car, some of the day, Yanga Change. Tangasana pigment somewhere, Bhutia secure. The Piggy, Pege, Lorian and the Gradere, did it in Kevuk of guitar, Chuchu and Jay Martire. Pajong with the Chicken Yang, because the Koma getting some children did it. Deep in the Yin Chigre, the Russish Society. Ching a dear son Tato, you to the Pigatwa, Ramagram Sidre. Chick the word is Sajo Tongra, that the Yin Chigre Sangutu. That jig the Nagus were a Rara, couple was to Rajo children distress. People wasn't in Rare. Tangas D and Hungse generation, and I was the another don't take the Maris. That is some call I met that did. That thing are Zejing Chidere. The big Dayamar, this Sanjam with Zavak, Shitan, Geda, Junida, Giada, Gada, Gada, something like in a Zejing Gate, Kawaga, with Dichitary. That D doesn't teach. That D caress and the Chidin Chanju. The caress and the name of the Doctor Shavina, degree. Some take a degree because it did it louder. Did it Samaya? Certificate. The condition, the children in Alolia, Sangi, Kapachan and 3 years. That is the Nabache. The degree with the Doing. Lobsang Karagar past year, what they mean. Kevaju need to be get tired about the Tajiki Yeshiva, the Chatan General 20 years. The existing session of degree to the children of the Chaji, children get the degree to go this year. That gets the Doctor Chatash. That is how much it did. That did some share coming in soon. You grow up. The baby got it. Heaven and Karashi was another gaying of the Tabati, Piri some sheer deuce, gaying of some of the career. That did it. Gaying of the did it. Shabatama have worked Tatari Gijor, Lado chat which is to Ding of Tabana, Canadi, Google now again there ancient Sanskrit alphabet like some distinct verification. Did another one of them tell me to us. She showed the Ramar, what the people has you, Tatar, chat with the ordinary. She was much when I tired. Young to do the sages from social one. That dinner alone, that Nota Carresna, was if big use the carpet that is like your wa. Till Mobushi or Mokashi Calagre, and Lanzal Petar Sage, the Wordul Petar Sage, Nagari Eagle Petar Sage, Gubde Eagle Petar Sage, Tangos from the Norshas, to sit on Tungimetus, Tama Gubde Eagle Petar Rashas, the Carres Nas, Kung the Carres Naria, Yakun the Tingri. Yaduda. They couldn't did it. Did it. Can I say it to eat in Chimera? Dinner all Tanda was the to say, don't judge a chasm, when a chasa asked me, say, you are. He's not dinner Sandior. This was the Yakala was a very big swear as education. She is Jingilam Tan and Taras the Kajik tortures at some of the Marishas. Didn't the Radigore. Tiranga, the Tugana look at the that day. Can I say in a happy get him out here? Dinner on it. Chat at Sanigayore. Zayore. And a wire, Wasuyore. South Yore, name of the Wada Jagi, but the one of this something Yore. This was a Tanda was a Tunction to Zim without Toto to stand in Junti. Tinichikala was some that the Soju Bataju said Kijini Wanzo. Have you got a degree? What the Kijakashi is another and in Dilagrova Corsa. I think it's a dish day. Dio dear. What the Kundus did Vegan is also I need them also. Ra Vegan is our Gabale, Kundusang Vegan and Tangbuka Tangava. The Calawari. In writer the count Chisatwa. The word like us crying, she just shabbat me la. Kundusang was the Calawara, someone but a cigar. Someone but a Vegan, Gake up Tangugi, and in Abadina, the Carres and Didua, Chadi de Carres, and Sonja passing Digi and Ajinarwa. The other Tanjul Katisha. Vegan and Kundusang. Nibi kept the Tubalatwa. That becomes a consequence of women and a good song with the Koran Mingra is the war, but they're having to good song was again the Dadu George. Live in the Ragasam Shavach. Yes, and the Dicks with the Duke Cherishes, turning out to put them on a bed Japshawati. Dear she's on your Colombian Agony Nashas. Dig Kunang just as a Konangvarwa. Live in the Ragi, Dil Chabik Rachabushori. Live in the Casa de Chandragumi, particular issue to a Koran Chabitama, that issues the map, Travel This is a good song was that Dadu Kundasang with the Shichani, Pevega Sundani the Samshas, 말은 딜라고 해준 점에도 아니 제가 조선한테 살아 되어라 양게 왜 그러니 자와 개발래 왜 그렇게 자와서 가려고 그래 다리고 숨게 예원하로네 아니 군대상 베게 왜 그러는 게 니베기 적바 이마다 아니 딜라도 아니 디딩에 돈도 인다 어디래 디선자 주대
지지심스게라.
나
지지심스.
당연 잘 이도도 디 그래서 얘들은 돈 주의 다 디도를 아니 계절 그러면 근데 나에게는 당장 해야 되지 그러면 쉬셔로 와 도도 디 장주선조를 보지 마게 반음 교주지 개와냐 매바양 공원에 공도 배워라서 어디 짓담 와람рат남 어느 उत्पन्नेषु जायताम उत्पन्नेषु 주담 나스야드 비리담 스야드 우트로 우트람 धन्यवाद कृष्ण
게 럽상 라길라라 토जना 슈에이 아니 게라게 타리 사게게 남타다 데넨 타다 피기 기충고 고 담시 섭시게 바나 닝타바네 토जना 아니 다 투지기 기 영조 티와틸레 렌토아 민도 디인디 아니 탄다 원조기 탄다 담시바 아니 나바시 라닝 타바네 토जना 슈에이 yes the tea break, right?